Well, on this New Year's Day, our financial analyst Stewart Welch with us today. Hey, Stewart, good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you
It's
as
here.
well.
2013.
We were going to talk about a number of things today, but we figured we need to stick with the fiscal cliff and what it really means to all of us. This is the one story that affects everybody. So the Senate has come up with a plan, has to be passed by the House. It's not done yet, but it's better than nothing, right?
Well, I think we need to rename it. It's not the fiscal cliff, it's the fiscal dip. I mean, you know, we went, the Senate didn't get it done.
Right.
And we went over the supposedly cliff. We're still here.
We're still here.
Nothing's happened.
We're hanging on.
And so I think the media's done a great job of really scaring everybody. And here we are.
That's why we're here to try to straighten it out.
That's right. We're here.
All right. So what we have here is the House still has to work on it. So a lot of people are wondering, well, they don't have it in place yet. Am I going to see a difference in my paycheck until they get it corrected? And you say what?
Well, definitely yes, but it has nothing to do with the fiscal cliff.
All right, we're going to get that. Let's hold that one.
Okay.
But let's talk about, you said from what you understand from people you talk to, nothing is really going to change until, or at least in the taxes and the way they pull taxes.
So for everybody making, for families making under $450,000, the rules are, it looks like the rules are going to stay the same.
So nothing changes for them regarding this.
Regarding this, for the fiscal cliff, nothing's going to change. Now, you know, they didn't address deep spending cuts, which are needed, so that's a whole nother thing that has to happen. And this still has to get passed by the House.
Right.
And so I suspect that the House is going to address this within a couple of days. So either sometime between now and about noon on Wednesday, they're going to come out and announce something that is going to be, I suspect, positive in terms of the kind of progress that they're making. Okay,
let's go ahead and talk about the FICA or Social Security tax. Now, a lot of people haven't been talking about this because people have been focused on the fiscal cliff issue. This is a separate issue, and this affects everybody.
It affects everybody that's gets a paycheck is actually going to see their taxes go up. So that's middle income Americans as well as the higher income earners. And that's going to be up by 2% on the FICA tax. So that's going to be up to about $110,000 of earnings.
So what happened a couple of years ago, they called it a Social Security tax holiday from 6.2 to 4.2. It's going back up to 6.2. This is separate from the fiscal cliff issue.
This is separate. So if you're making $100,000, your taxes are going to go up about or you're going to see in your paycheck about $160 less a month.
All right, $50,000. What are you going to?
You're going to see about $80 less a month. So for a lot of people, $80 is a
big deal.
It's a big number. It's a whole bill that they're paying. It's a utility bill or something. And so they're going to need to plan for that. And on the flip side, employers have to get this done. So employers don't want to be slack. They're by law are going to have to go in there and make sure that they adjust those payroll taxes.
I mean, would you agree that a lot of people are going to be surprised? They think, well, we've
avoided
avoided the fiscal cliff supposedly, but my check is still going to be less. That's going to surprise some people.
I think they're going to look at that check and go, what happened? What are my politicians doing? What am I paying them for?
Right.
And I think some people are going to be upset by that.
And that's nothing, and there's been no talk of changing that.
There has been a little bit of chatter about it, but that chatter has been so quiet it does not look like it's going to be part of any of the legislation. It does look like they're going to extend unemployment benefits for a whole nother year.
Right.
And so when you look at the measure, you've raised revenue on people making more than $450,000, but you've also extended benefits. In other words, you're still spending more money through the unemployment benefits, so those are going to tend to offset each other.
We've kicked the can down the road a good ways.
The big deal is the debt, and we've done nothing to the debt, so that's got to be addressed coming up in the next quarter.
Okay, the big difference, the threshold at first was $250 and under, no taxes would change. $250 and above, they would go up. How big of a difference is $400 to $450 threshold?
Janice, it's huge. If you think of the people that don't get swept up from the 250 to the 450, that group of people that don't get swept up, it is a really large number of people. So the 450 really does begin to talk to a much smaller contingent of people that are making that kind of money.
Because who are the 450 and below? I mean, we're talking about businesses. And explain what you were telling me in the break.
Well, I think, you know, businesses, particularly if you look in the southern states, you know, the mass of businesses are making $250 or less, or certainly but less than $450.
They're not bringing home $250. That's part of the business, right?
Yeah, well, they'll have expenses, but when you take your expenses out and you look at what your income is, most of them are not going to be making $450,000. So the move between 250 and 450 on a national basis, I think, is a very positive thing in terms of the general taxpayer. They're just not going to be. You cut out that 200,000, that extra 200,000, you miss a whole lot of people in terms of that new tax bite.
All right, so a lot to still wait to see what happens, but for right now, expect your taxes to go up somewhat because of the FICA tax, but those 400, 450 and below, things should stay the same in that department.
The drama continues for now.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, thanks for coming by.